The amount of Golden Ball hot takes that I've had the displeasure to see over the past few months has been extreme. I'm not only talking about brain-dead Twitter pundits or Reddit enthusiasts, but actual football analysts and reputable football publications. But I'm warning you, some of these takes are so bad that you just have to cope and tell yourself that they are rage bait because of how delusional and out of touch they are. Honestly, I'm not gonna say this lightly, but some of these posts are actually retarded. Alright, let's start off with something light. This tweet here says that Cole Palmer will win the Balon D'Or at some point. And on the surface, this seems like a really nice take, nothing too unhinged. But I decided to take a look at this comment deeper. And by deeper, I mean comparing Cole Palmer's breakout season with some of the great Golden Ball winners of the 21st century. Sadly, the website I was using to get the stats only started keeping records at the turn of the millennia. So if you guys know a website that has the stats of ballers who played in the 1900s, drop that shit down in the comments. But for the purposes of this section of the video, I think we got what we need. Okay, let's bring in the graph. My reasoning in doing this is to see if Cole Palmer is heading towards the right trajectory in winning the Golden Ball. The graph will only show the average in-game time that these players would take to score or assist. I don't want to look at the raw numbers of goals and assists because I don't want the players' injuries to take away from their Golden Ball win. For example, R9, he won the Golden Ball in 2002 while only bagging a combined goals and assists tally of 10. That's some horrendous numbers. But let's factor in that he only played 17 games. And he only played the full 97 times. So if we look at the average in-game time that took R9 to either score or assist, it would come out to 92 minutes, meaning that every game he either scored or assisted. If you didn't know, that's pretty good. And trust me, I am the first one to point out the ridiculousness of only focusing on goals and assists of a player. So I will also be talking about the parts of each player's game that made them stand out. But let's be honest for a second. A low goals and assists to minutes played ratio is normally a great indicator that a player is world class. And please don't get confused. A lower bar in the graph is better because it means that a player needs less time in a game to score or give out an assist. Okay, let's keep going. No surprises here. That insane 2011-2012 season that Messi had is by far the most impressive to look at using this metric. While I decided to go with 3 of Cristiano Ronaldo's Golden Ball seasons because not only are they amazing, but his game varied wildly, while Messi is the king at consistency. So naturally, I chose Messi's most jaw-dropping season. That being said, Ronaldo in 2008 was his most balanced form, being a menace in all aspects of the game, playing every position at top, favoring the right wing, while his 2013 version was a more transitioned player into becoming a pure goal scorer, focusing on playing left wing. And Cristiano's 2017 playstyle was the pure goal scorer. Ronaldinho in 2005 and Kaká in 2007. And then of course you have to include Cole Palmer. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. When looking at this superficial statistic, Cole Palmer had a Golden Ball worthy campaign last season. But there's obviously more to this picture. The 3 that I want to focus on are Messi, Ronaldinho, and Kaká, because they all played in positions that Cole Palmer plays in. You might be thinking that comparing Cole Palmer to any of these legends is ludicrous. And you would be right in saying that when comparing him to 25-year-old Messi, because, well, come on. But you gotta remember that Palmer's 22 right now, while Kaká was 25 when he won the Golden Ball, and Ronaldinho was also 25 when he won his. So who's to say that Palmer won't reach those heights when he is at that age? Now, Palmer will never have the pace that Kaká had, or the techers that Ronaldinho had. But I argue that his game awareness is up there, coupled with his grit, passing, and overall football IQ. I'd say that he has the tools to win a Golden Ball, especially in this day and age, when systematic football is what the game is all about. Gone are the days when a Ronaldinho would dribble past the whole team. That's not what the game is about anymore, because it isn't optimal. It's beautiful and awe-inspiring, but it's not optimal. Blame Pep Guardiola for that one. I bring this up because individual talent is not as important as it once was. Nowadays, the type of player that is valuable is the one that can fit into any scheme and do as they are told. That's how you win trophies. And the Golden Ball is normally given to a player who has played the biggest part in winning their team's said trophies. This brings me to my next point. If Palmer is to win the Golden Ball, he must leave Chelsea. Unless he carries England to a World Cup, he's going to have to win the Champions League and be a top player while doing so. And as of right now, I can't fathom seeing Chelsea in contention for a Champions League. As much as it hurts some of you, winning big trophies matters in this kind of thing. Trust me, as good as Kaká was in 07, AC Milan winning the Champions League only helped his campaign. While in 2005, Ronaldinho at least won a La Liga. In short, I believe that if Cole Palmer keeps on going on this trajectory and has a season where he wins a major trophy while being the top guy at that club, I believe that he will win a Golden Ball. So I must admit, this take is based and I agree with it. We have completely lost touch of reality. In no universe should Lamine Yamal be considered for a Golden Ball, let alone as a top 10 player in the world having the season that he has just had. Don't get me wrong, in his age group, I might even put him as underrated. He's just that good. And for me, he should win the Golden Boy. But the Golden Ball? Yeah, you've got to be smoking something. Like I said, compared to his age group, I might even say that he's underrated. He's something that we've never seen. But when compared to players right now, and I'm talking about all professionals in every major league, Yamal for me at most would be an above average player. Again, that's because the guy was 16 during this whole season. I bet that if he continues on with this trajectory, he might rival the Mbappe and the Vinicius of the world. But as of right now, he's closer to an average player than he is to be a true contender of the Golden Ball. So yeah, for this hot take, I'm going to have to say that this guy is absolutely insane for even mentioning this. Again, let's go back to our goals and assists average per game graph. Because no matter how incredible a forward is technically, they have to be able to score or assist. It's the most important stat for a forward and for the winner of the Golden Ball for that matter. Let's add 4 more players to this graph. The players I will be adding are Vinicius Jr, my pick for the Golden Ball this year, Joselu, who played around 2,117 minutes this season, Brahim Diaz, who played around 2,050 minutes, and Lamine Yamal, who had around 3,000 minutes on the field. That's interesting. I bring up minutes played for Brahim and Joselu because they are somewhat comparable to Yamal's minutes. Trust me, this only helps my case. I'll be using all of their 23-24 stats. When just looking at goals and assists and not taking into account the obvious outliers, Vinicius Jr crafted a Golden Ball caliber season, while Brahim and Joselu played their roles well as bench players. And admittedly, they managed to contribute quite a lot to Real Madrid's stellar season, leaving Lamine with this stat line. Again, more does not mean better. This stat is not by any means comprehensive, but I will argue that Brahim Diaz had more of an impact than Yamal had throughout the season. Now, Lamine does get some major bonus points for what he did at the Euros. He was brilliant, but for club, he was severely underwhelming when compared to Golden Ball winners. Just to drive the point home, do you guys remember how shit Vinicius Jr was during the 1920 season? This is how that season stacks up. Jesus, looking back on it, I forgot how ass he was. He was also terrible defensively, a horrible passer, and constantly made boneheaded plays. While Lamine is also pretty irrelevant defensively, a decent passer, and has a very promising football IQ. Why did I bring this up? Well, if Vinicius has ascended this much in the past 5 years, who knows where Yamal will end up. But as of right now, Yamal is closer to 1920 Vinicius than he is to winning the Golden Ball, meaning that he is talented and a promising youngster, but not even close to the finished product, and that's a fact. Alright, anyway, let's move on to the next hot take.
Vini Jr actually deserves it more than anyone, because he is a baller, but don't come here and act like football didn't really fall off. If you compare the caliber of players we have now, and then, and Balon D'Or was about performance, before until we had Messi and Ronaldo.
Jesus Christ, I almost had an aneurysm reading that. The grammar was atrocious. But let's judge this tweet on its message and not its word salad of a paragraph. So right below the tweet, it shows a bunch of previous Balon D'Or winners with their goal and assist tally compared to the amount of games that they've played. And look, I get it. Goals and assists don't always tell the full picture. But everybody watching this video should already know that Vinicius Jr isn't always all about the goals and assists. Yes, he could score, and of course he could dish out assists. But let's not get it twisted. Vinicius Jr has mainly been a playmaker for the past 2 years. And let's not forget the flair that he brings to all of these games. I'm especially remembering that nutmeg in the Champions League final against Dortmund. That was nuts. Alright, I hear you. He might not be as elegant as a Ronaldinho or as dominant as an R9, but when you look at his stats for the season and what he's managed to accomplish with Real Madrid, it's pretty hard to deny, unless you're just a pure hater, that he should be number 1 in the 2024 Balon D'Or rankings. So yeah, I'm not gonna go too deep into the weeds and the statistics for this tweet, because we're all pretty familiar with Vini's game and how he brings a lot more to his team than just the goals and assists. At least this last season, he's been a difference maker every time that he stepped on that pitch. There's just something about him. He's a special player. So what I'm trying to say is, if you translate this tweet from Bidenese to normal English, it actually seems really based. At least superficially. And even once you try to extract all of the nuances that all these other previous winners of the Balon D'Or brought to the game, Vinicius really isn't that far off. And if you honestly think that Vinicius Jr. and the season that he just had doesn't even hold a candle to all these other players mentioned in this tweet, well then at that point you're just a nostalgia merchant. There's no other way to put it. Again, this tweet sums it up pretty well. Messi and Ronaldo completely spoiled us. Their Golden Ball seasons that they had are absolutely alien to everything else that we've seen in this sport. So comparing Vinicius to either Messi or Ronaldo is ridiculous. But comparing Vinicius to Shevchenko or Nedved or Ronaldinho is not that far-fetched, honestly. Anyway, that tweet was pretty based. On to the next one. Oh my god, get this dog shit the fuck away from me. Who in their right mind would put Messi and Ronaldo in 2024 as favorites to win the Balon D'Or, no matter what they've won? At that point, I just know you're a casual, because everybody knows that the most amount of competition when it comes to football is during the domestic season. That's when teams are structured better, the tactics are just superior. That's obviously because of the market. I mean, you can't go shopping for a national team player. You just have to work with what you've got. So that's why I've always thought that basing the Golden Ball rankings on a national team tournament was just ridiculous. The level will never be as high as it is in club football. On top of that, most of the teams are shit, let's be honest. So yeah, this tweet from start to finish is retarded stupid. There's no other way I can put it. And what is that I see? Is that a Ugandan flag on this guy's Twitter handle? Yeah, at this point, cut off all internet from you. Then this guy ends off the tweet with, "It's called heritage. This is football." Oh my god. Yeah, this is the worst tweet I've seen in a while. Anyway, I think I've made my point clear. Let's move on. All right, after that last one, I'm done with tweets. I don't want to look at them anymore. So let's move on to the publications made by media entities. They can't be much worse, can they? So let's start with Goal.com and see how they rank their top 10 candidates to win the Balon D'Or. Honestly, the list doesn't look that bad, but me personally, I wouldn't put Rodri in first. Because at the end of the day, what's the most important and valuable attribute a player can bring to the team? Well, that obviously be scoring goals. That's why most of the winners of the Golden Ball are strikers. It only makes sense. And yes, I get it. We have to show more love to midfielders and defenders. And don't get me wrong, Rodri's a great player, and he was completely indispensable for Man City. But when it came down to it, I think that Vinicius Jr had more of an impact in more difficult games than Rodri had throughout the season. And also by the slightest of margins, Real Madrid did end up eliminating City from the Champions League. Sometimes luck dictates the winner of the Golden Ball. Because I'm gonna be honest, if Rudiger ended up missing that penalty in the showdown between Manchester City and Real Madrid to go to the semifinals, and Man City did end up winning the Champions League, you better believe that I'd be sitting here saying that Rodri should be winning the Golden Ball. But since that wasn't the case and that didn't happen, I couldn't put Rodri higher than second place. But either way, the rest of these rankings look pretty solid and based if you ask me. The only thing that raises my eyebrow a little bit is having Nico Williams in 10th. I'd put Florian Wirtz around that area. But then again, it's 10th place in the Balon d'Or rankings. Who the hell cares? Well, Give Me Sport has some questionable ass takes, to say the least. Let's take a look at their top 10. So immediately I take a look at the list and I see that Vinicius Jr is first, so that's a plus in my book. But then I look a little bit lower and see Yamal at 4th place and Messi at 7th. To me, these rankings just scream recency bias because of the Euros and the Copa America. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this list an ass booty cheeks ranking. Let's go on to the next one. Oh my god, this list is dreadful. So not only for the 2024 Golden Ball rankings did OneFootball put Cristiano Ronaldo in 10th and Lionel Messi in 9th, but they put Vinicius Jr in 8th. They deadass forgot to put a number 7. They put Mohamed Salah in 6th place, Harry Kane in 5th, Rodri in 4th, which honestly, Rodri in 4th is probably the most solid pick on this list. Mbappe in 3rd with the dreadful season that he just had. Haaland in 2nd, and then Jude Bellingham in 1st. Yeah, I don't know what they're smoking over there in OneFootball. This hot take has to go into the put everybody that worked on this horrendous article into purgatory to atone for their sins, because this is horrible journalism. Just remember, somebody got paid to do this. And with that, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and have a good rest of your day.